Hi there, I'm Rex King. Welcome back to another episode of Straight to Streaming. So I haven't done one of these in about a month now, mainly due to the fact that I've been like wicked sick and I've also just been really, really busy. But I am back to do a movie called The Killer. Now, technically, The Killer's not really straight to streaming as it had a very limited theatrical run, but I want to go on a limb here and say that most of you aren't or didn't see it in the theatrical run. Most people are going to see this on Netflix. So, without further ado, let's talk about it. So, The Killer was directed by David Fincher and stars Michael Fassbender as our titular killer. He's an assassin who, unfortunately, after job goes horribly wrong, he is now forced to take on his employer and other assassins. So, this film is really interesting as far as the story goes. It is a character study really about this guy who's a methodical assassin and really kind of lives in that world. He doesn't really care about anyone, doesn't really have a moral compass. He just does his job. But when he's put in this situation where someone he cares about is hurt because he failed to do this job, he's forced to kind of uh, deal with the situation in a way he's never dealt with a situation before. And it's really cool. Now, a lot of people might go into this expecting some high flying action. That's very much not this film. As I said, it is a character study about this guy who has a emotional disconnect, who just does what he does because he is being paid to do it, and in this situation, he just is believes he's doing what he needs to do in order to survive and uh, also get back at the people who kind of put a bounty on his head because of his failed job, and uh, he always is trying to justify his actions as being non-emotional, as even though he's doing these kills later on in the movie because they attacked him, which means there is an emotional element to it, even though he's trying to justify it as no, there isn't. Now, as far as characters are concerned, we don't get a whole lot of characterization of most of the people in the film. Even our main character's a little bit of a mystery. Hell, he doesn't really speak for most of the runtime. All the characterization we get from him is through narration. Now, normally I am not a fan of narration. I believe film is a show don't tell medium, and whenever narration's in a movie, it kind of takes away from that aspect. Here, though, as our character doesn't really talk to anyone, it makes sense that he would have an internal monologue, and it gives us a little bit of insight into his character, even though we still don't fully get to know a ton about him. The film's not focused on us relating to him, it's just trying to study his actions. And I really enjoy that for this film. I felt like there was no way we were going to sympathize with this guy, and I'm glad the film doesn't try to make us sympathize with him. It's not trying to justify his actions. The character and the director know that this guy is not a good person. He's just doing these things because he is really just feels like he either needs to or to complete his jobs. He is just a assassin. We're not going to sympathize with someone who is typically a quote unquote bad person. And I'm very glad the film doesn't try to justify his actions. The performances here, Michael Fassbender is amazing. He has a tough job. This character, like I said, does not speak, so a lot is on his body language, and he does a fantastic job conveying what this guy is feeling through his body language, and I really enjoyed that. The other performances are pretty good. There's not a lot of screen time for anyone else. The only other performer I would even really mention as a standout is Tilda Swinton as the moment when she is confronted by Michael Fassbender is probably one of the highlights of the film, and I really enjoyed that moment as a whole. And visually, this film is really well done. It is very simple visually, but you can tell that the camera work is spectacular. It very easy to tell what's going on the screen. When there is an action scene, it's very easy to follow. I really felt there was some really good top-notch cinematography going on here. The music here, so the sound design's a little weird, as we only hear music when our main character is listening to actual music, and then we only hear it from the perspective of the camera. If the camera's in a POV shot, we hear the music in our character's ears. If it's outside of a POV shot, we hear it through the headphones, so it's a much more muffled sound. Then there's also some weird dialogue moments where the characters are speaking, but the sound kind of randomly is almost muting it. It feels off at times. I really don't know how I feel about the sound design as a whole here. It's not bad, but it kind of weirded me out at some times. So, The Killer here is a really decent film. I relatively enjoyed what it was. Now, this film's not going to be for everyone. If you're not into slow burn character studies, you're not going to like this movie. But if you relatively find those types of films fascinating, I think you'll enjoy this one a lot. I did. I'm going to give The Killer a 7 out of 10. Anyway, that's what I felt about The Killer. What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. And if you liked this video, like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you next time.